Good morning, everyone. So I had a couple of things I'd like to show. First off, the Yupo that I did in the last video. It's all dry, as you can see, and if you look closely you can see the glitter, but this is micro glitter, and if you just hold it like that, you don't let the light bounce off it, you don't even see the glitter. But you know, when you wear it as jewelry, you will absolutely catch a little sparkle as you go. So this is the other one. This is with the holographic glitter, and they all dried nicely, as you can see, and I sort of like them all. So I'm gonna see what I can do with them as soon as I get my brother scan and cut. So someone asked me, you know, can you show how you do it, because I have one, but I haven't used it for a while. Well, I don't even have one yet, so I hope I can learn how to use it really quickly. Okay, so the next thing I'd like to show is how I do the varnishing. This is what I do. I put it in a little squirt bottle, as you can see, with one of these, and then I get a very wide brush, because the wider the brush, the better it puts it on the canvas, and you get it all wet, your brush, because that's how it leaves less brush strokes. Now, what I like to do is hold it up so the light bounces off it, so that I can really see what I'm doing. And I cover the whole thing, as you can see. Oh, the dog drives me crazy. And then with a really, as you can see, really light brush over it. And if you wait for a bit, you'll see that the brush strokes disappear. Wait a minute. Nookie! Nou niet meer, hè? Hey! Mag niet! I'll close the door. Now, as you can see, it's already starting to level out. The thing is, if you still see brush strokes by about, let's say, 3 minutes after you've done the final brush over, then if you still see brush strokes, they're gonna stay. So that's about the amount you give it. Now, someone said, you know, I am having difficulty when I do the really big one. And that's true. I've experienced the same thing. The bigger the canvases get, the more difficult it is to varnish. So what then I do is I water down the varnish just a little bit. I'm gonna do that now. So I've added a little bit of water to it. And then I start to shake it all up. And then I do exactly the same thing. Only this is a little bit thinner, because this is my first layer. See, this is the fastest way to get it on your canvas, and that's you know, what you really need, because this stuff dries fast. And you don't want to use too much time in putting it on with a brush. So as you can see, I'm putting it on. Maybe I put on a little bit too much, but that's okay. And as you can see, this is how I'm holding my brush. Just to pull over, see? Just pulling it down like that, with absolutely no weight on it. I'm going to pull some off. a little bit, making sure I get the sides just a bit, because the most important part right now is the top. So I'm going over it again, and because I watered it down, it's a little bit more forgiving. It will give me a little bit more time to pull the brush over it. That's it. Now I have some on the table, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. And one time up here, a little bit too much there. Okay, so I'm doing the sides as we speak. That's it. And I will show you up close. I don't know if you can really see it with the lights on it, but as you can see, there are no brush strokes. No brush strokes whatsoever. And what you're seeing in the varnish right now is the glitter and the mica that I brushed on, but after 2 or 3 coats that'll disappear. But as you can see, there are no brush strokes whatsoever, and this is how I let it dry. And this is layer 1. So when you're doing a lot of layers, you build them up. You start with a very diluted layer, and then when you build it up, you go thicker, 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 and that's how you get this beautiful, almost resin-like finish. So right now I'm going to get rid of a couple of bumps that I see here. I don't know where they came from. Oh, they're in the painting. Gotta get them out. They're out. Okay, I'll put this one away, and as I do each layer, I will video it so you guys can see what I'm doing. And I hope that will help you to make the varnish look like resin, because that's what we all want, you know, a really smooth, beautiful, glass-like finish, right? Okay. So, someone else asked me, let me put this aside for a bit. Let me find a place to put it. Someone else asked me to show the one I did a while back, this one. What I can truly say is that when I pour something, and that last close-up that I give you guys, that's the way it's going to dry. It's not going to, you know, move. I don't know why people have the problems that when they've done their painting and everything's done, that they come back an hour later and it's all gone. I don't know what that is. I have to assume that it's something to do with the quality of the paint or the thickness that you make it, because mine never, they don't disappear like the patterns that I make, the cells, the circles, whatever. They don't just disappear. That doesn't happen. So if it happens to you, or you're using a really low quality paint, or you've put too much water in it so the binders break down. Another thing that could be that is that you're using a mixture of paint that is just too thin, because it has to be a little bit thicker than like double cream or triple cream or what you call it. I've shown it a couple of times. When it comes off the stick, it has to be one continuous flow. That's very important. You don't want a lot of drips. You don't want a lot of chunks. You just want one continuous flow. And sometimes I think it has to do with the polymer medium or the pouring medium or the Floetrol. So just get in there, experiment a little, and at least watch and see how the paint runs off the stick, because if it runs off the stick like honey, you are good to go. I'm sure that you'll get cells. The important part that you have to understand is how thinner your paint is, then the silicone can already come to the top even before you get your torch. You know, when you do a flip cup, I'll show you what I mean. Let's get a cup. Okay, like pretend this is full of paint, but the paint is too thin. So I've got all my silicone in all the colors. I've put it all in the cup, and then I do this, and within 3 seconds, your silicone will already be on top. So when I release it, and then usually we let it level, all the silicone is already on the surface. So by the time you get your torch and you start torching, there's nothing to torch because all the silicone is already on top. And what the torch really does is warm the paint a little bit, so it lets the silicone rise to the top. But because your paint is a little thicker, the silicone will pull the other color that it's under, will pull the color to the surface, and that creates the cells. So if your paint is too thin, that's where usually it goes wrong. Now, there's an exception to this rule, and that is, I've seen it done before on YouTube, that people take paint and they dilute it with a lot of water, more than 30%. And what you have then, that's what I call, they don't create cells, but they create a blooming effect, if you get my drift. So a cell is something where the silicone comes through the paint, pulls another color, and pushes it through another color, and that's why we see those cells. But when you dilute your paint with a lot of water, that's when it starts to bloom. So you'll see a cell, but the cell will have a different formation because it's more of a blooming effect. And you can do that without any silicone. You can get that if you like that effect. Some people really love it, and when done well, I think it's pretty to see it forming, and the whole shape of it is really appealing. But that's a whole different ball game than this. So we have, like, I don't know, a couple of techniques. You have the Winsor & Newton, the Amsterdam acrylic. That paint needs a pouring medium, needs a little bit of this, needs a little bit of that, and then you mix it up because it's a lot thicker than our fluid Vallejo or golden paint. When I'm doing the golden or the fluid Vallejo, I only use Floetrol. Maybe a little bit of polymer medium, just, you know, just to see what it does. There's no special reason that I put in polymer medium, but I just put in some stuff just to see what happens. And I think everyone should do that. Always keep experimenting. Always do that. But with Vallejo paint, the only thing I use is Floetrol, maybe a little bit of polymer medium, and that's it. But on the other hand, when you're using the Winsor & Newton Galeria or the Amsterdam acrylics, then you have to, you know, mix that up. Because if I were to do a painting like this with Vallejo, I would be ready with my paint mixing in about 10 minutes. It'd be ready. On the other hand, Winsor & Newton and Amsterdam acrylics, if I were to do this painting and I wanted all these colors of blue and the green and the white and the lighter color, if I were to say have 7 colors, I'd be mixing for an hour, hour and a half, because it's much more time consuming, because you want to first put in the paint, then you add 20 to 30% pouring medium, mix it all up really smooth, then a little polymer medium, a little gloss medium, you just put a little bit in there, everything you got, then I'm stirring again. And then at the end, when I think, okay, I got everything in there that I want in there, then I start to add water. So then a little bit of water, stir it up, a little bit of water, stir it up, and that goes on until I get the consistency that I'm talking about, the honey-like consistency. So that takes a lot of time to do that with all those colors. And the thing is, even I sometimes go too thick. Once or twice I went too thin, but that was more of an experiment. But if you're You can even say, you know, you're a really experienced artist, and I'm doing this experienced artist because you're never experienced. Come on, people. An artist always grows and learns and does new stuff. So you're never fully experienced. You always want to have that feeling of excitement and discovering new stuff, that kind of stuff. At least that's me. So I think, you know, everyone should just experiment. And if you don't have the funds to do that experiment on big canvases, that's no problem at all. Then you go down and you get some Yupo. Some people do it on photo paper, that thick cardboard photo paper. But I don't think it's that much less expensive somehow. I don't think so, because when I do these, you know, I think I could cut about out of an A4. This is A4 size. I don't know how many I cut out of it. I think I think 4. So that gives you a lot of room to experiment. And as you can, and you know, if you're just doing the mixing of the paint and you drop it on here and you squish it and you pull it apart and you torch it, if it creates cells, then it's good for the canvas also. So you could just test your paints on Yupo. And of course, if you make really nice Yupos, you can use that. But that's all I got to say about the painting. Now, the other one I did, the 4-cup flip. Let me clean up a little bit, because I'm gonna get all sorts of. Where's my little cloth? And no, I haven't moved into my new studio yet. My husband is doing it all by himself. Well, he has a little help from a neighbor who did the ceiling with him. But I'll take you guys down in a bit. I'll show you how far we are. That's always fun to see. So putting this in water. That's that. Now this is the 4-cup flip one I did. As you can see, it's dry and nice and smooth. This is totally smooth. I don't want to touch it though, because I've had my hands in other stuff, and I've I think I've touched a few paintings where I used silicone, so I don't want to contaminate it. But as you can see, lovely, lovely cells. I do see some. Let's turn off one light. Yeah, that's better. So as you can see, like I told you, the outside will grow a little bit, and it did. But I think it really adds to the picture. And it's pretty dry. But there are some awesome, awesome cells in here. A lot to look at. Oh yeah, I did it this way. That's how I poured it, because I can remember this bit here. I really love that with the lines. I don't know what that is, but I think this is the coolest part of the whole painting. That is cool. Okay. Okay. I just thought of another thing. I can't stick any videos together again, because YouTube took that away, that, you know, you can stick 2 videos together. So I'll have to go find some sort of a, I don't know, software program that does that. But I'll take you guys downstairs right now. Going down the stairs. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. Okay, we're going through the kitchen. And, oops, I had it locked. I don't know why. This is the weather outside today. Not nice at all. Okay, let's turn on some lights. Okay, this, what you're seeing there, not the brown table, but the gray one. My husband made this, and I will show you. Oh no, he locked it. See, there's even locks on. If I could get it off. And a lock here. Oh, maybe I'll do that. So look how easy you can roll it, because he put really big wheels under it. And as you can see, I can put it up or down. It's a really beautiful big table, and I can put it everywhere I want, so that's going to be cool. It's a lot higher, so it's better for my back. That's a painting, yes. Don't think I have that one on Etsy. So what I also wanted to show is the watercolor, because it's easier if I show you like this. These are the colors. And these colors come, you can see them a lot better on this bed. See how vibrant and beautiful they are? And the color chart on my website doesn't do them justice. So for the people that want to order these, I think this is a better way to check out, you know, how they are. Lovely, yay. Okay, yes, and there's the Vallejo. Lots of Vallejo. Lots of gold. Lots of micas. Okay guys, thank you all for watching, and I'm gonna say bye-bye till next time. Love you all to pieces, liebe euch alle. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye-bye.